So, hello. I haven't been in this setup in a while. For those who don't know me, my name's Jack. I like making videos and photos, and I want to do it for my living. And that's what this channel is kind of all about, is me improving my abilities as a photographer, as a filmmaker, to just improve them. In today's video, I'm going to be shooting with 3 different cameras and comparing them to see which one's better, which one would be better in which situations. The first of those cameras is the one that I am shooting on with right now. It is the Canon EOS 700D. It's a DSLR. It's a very decent beginner camera, and on it I'll be shooting on the EFS 18 to 55mm lens with image stabilization built into the lens. The second camera is my iPhone. It's the new iPhone 12 mini, and the third and final camera is my GoPro, my main GoPro, which is the GoPro Hero 7 Black, one of the two, again, which is a great GoPro, and you guys know all the perks of a GoPro. You don't need me to tell you why GoPros are handy. But yeah, so what I did is earlier this week, last week, I got my mate Sean round and we did some filming, and I had this really cool setup with my GoPro and my phone and my camera all together. I felt like a proper YouTuber doing that. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. But anyway, yeah, so without further ado, let's get straight into showing you the footage. So on the screen now is going to be the 3 videos that I recorded all at the same time. And what I want you guys to do in the comments is guess which camera is which. Which one's the DSLR, which one's the phone, and which one's the GoPro. One of them is going to be quite obvious just because of what I'm filming on, but I want you to put in the comments down there and we'll see who's right. So off you go. Alright, so let's show up that camera 1, camera A, and that was, of course, that was my phone footage. That was the footage that is on my phone. With the new iPhones and with a lot of modern phones, a lot of smartphones at the moment, you've got the capability of filming in 4K, and you've got the capability of filming in slow motion, which I've got to say is a lot better than my actual main running camera at the moment. Which, what can you do? It's the camera that I've got, it's the camera that I've got to work with. Speaking of, moving on to camera 2, or camera B, of course, is my DSLR. It's the Canon 700D. Again, despite having inbuilt stabilization, it's a very old camera and a very old lens, meaning the stabilization isn't going to be anywhere near as good as some more modern cameras, or even my iPhone 12. Which leaves the obvious one, camera C, was my GoPro. You can tell that quite obviously from the distortion, from the wide angle that GoPros always have, because GoPros are designed to be used like holding it here in front of you, like this close to you, so it needs to be able to capture everything around it. And also it's an action cam that's small with a wide angle lens. That's just what GoPros are. So let's get into talking about the more specifications about the 3 cameras. Let's start with my iPhone. In terms of capability for filming, it can film in 4K at 60 frames per second. It can't film at 120 frames per second at any resolution, but it can change resolutions from 4K to HD, and it can also change from 30 frames per second to 60 frames per second, which is handy and which is really, really cool. Moving on to my second camera. My second camera is my actual DSLR. It can't film 4K and it can't film slow motion just because of how old of a camera it is, and it was a cheap camera when I first got it. Don't worry, I am looking into improving the camera. However, the good thing about DSLRs is obviously you can change the lens, you can put on an external microphone, you can do so much more stuff with a DSLR that it becomes better when actually using the footage and using the camera itself. There's a lot more versatility that you can do with a actual DSLR. And finally, the GoPro. The GoPro, you can film in 30 frames per second at full 4K. you can film at 60 frames per second at either 4K or Full HD. You can film at 120 at Full HD, and if you want to bump it down to standard definition, you can also film at 240 frames per second, which, don't know why I'd ever need to do that. I don't know why I would ever need to do that, particularly at the standard definition, but it could work. It looks cool. Now, in terms of which camera I would prefer, I still probably, despite me love slow motion and want to use more slow motion, I've got to go with my DSLR, purely on the basis of I can change my lenses, meaning I've got more control over how much light gets let into the camera, how much I can control the depth of field. Yes, on your iPhone you've got portrait mode, but that only is for photos, it's not for video as well, while with the DSLR, with my 700D, you can do that with both image and footage. Yes, by that means I don't have 4K on my main camera. However, my camera is not built to edit 4K. It's a relatively old, I said camera there, didn't I? My laptop is not built to handle 4K footage, particularly large amounts of 4K footage. It's a very small camera. It's a very old laptop. It's a gaming laptop, so it's got like the image quality for it. It's got the graphics for it, but it doesn't quite have the memory for it or the RAM power for editing 4K footage. And on top of that, most people who are watching my videos are watching on phones or on older monitors. So not everyone has a 4K monitor yet. So for where I am at the moment, I don't need 4K footage yet. Don't get me wrong, as soon as I can afford a 4K camera and a laptop that can edit 4K footage, 100% I'm going to be using 4K, but where I am right now, I don't need 4K. In terms of slow-mo, yes, it really upsets me that I can't film in slow-mo. However, if I need to be filming in slow motion, I can just turn to my phone or my GoPro for that usage and then go back to my main camera when I need my main camera. Let's talk about the stabilization real quick. My GoPro stabilization is off the charts. It is brilliant. I'll play some movement shots now, and as you can see, my GoPro, not a problem, because it's an action cam. It's designed to be moved around, it's designed to be jerked and keep that stabilization still. My phone, weirdly enough, is also very good with the stabilization. I've kind of touched on it before in the video, but smartphones and camera phones have come a long way in terms of their video capability as well as their photo capability, but their video capability has come a long way from where they were originally. Whereas my DSLR, despite, like I said, having inbuilt stabilization, the inbuilt stabilization is not good enough to warrant being able to do this unless I'm filming in slow motion. In slow motion, it'll slow down like the footsteps and stuff, or without using a gimbal. Luckily, I have a gimbal, so that's not an issue for me. However, it is a bit annoying if I'm out and about and I want to get some moving shots in and I don't have my gimbal on me. It can be a bit annoying. However, again, that could be my fault. I could just be needing to improve upon my technique on how I film and how I hold the camera and everything like that, and how I walk when moving the camera. I know I know the footsteps that you need to be taking to reduce the bounce in your steps. However, I'm not an expert at that, so that could be on me. But yeah, that is time for me. That is all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, please comment down below which camera you thought was which. I'd love to get your thoughts, and I'd love to see if you guys managed to guess which one it was. I will put a link down to I will put a list of all the camera gear that I used in today's video, because I also used a couple more of the lenses just to show how different lenses can affect DSLR camera and why it swayed me to choose my DSLR as my main running camera instead of the other two. But yeah, moving on, that is time, and I will see you guys whenever I get the next video. See you guys later. Bye bye! Poked myself in the eye there. My salutes are getting too violent. Bye.